At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data. Now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. And we have a liftoff. Moving back. The Saturn V lifting off of Alpha pad.
This is WOMLP operator. It's 105.9. 105.9 The Radiator, The Rocket Shop, Hour 2. I'm your host, Tom Proctor. And now with me is Zeus Springsteen. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Yeah, let's just get straight into this. Do you want to introduce a song and get cracking?
Yeah. This song is called "Special Kind of Hell." It's a new song. Yeah.
But you'll keep lying. These aren't your eyes. Cat knows you're trying. It's a special kind of hell to understand you hate yourself. There's no bottom to that well, falling weightless except for your heart. Mistakes are made, it's only human. They stab in waves, retract and bloom again. It's a special kind of hell to understand you hate yourself. There's no bottom to that well, weightless except for your heart. Oh, just an hour of sleep or two, if only peace enough would come to you. Special kind of hell to understand you hate yourself. There's no bottom to that well, falling weightless except for your heart. Falling weightless except for your heart.
All right, Special Kind of Hell by Zeus Springsteen there. And as I understand it, that's off the new album that's about to come out. So would you like to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. We've got like the record, the first record came out about a little over a year ago, January. We were here.
Yeah.
You
guys were on.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful time.
This is why we got you back on again. You guys you lit up the airwaves.
I know you had to have us back.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. So yeah, we've been busy. So we've got another record kind of ready to go as far as the writing goes. You know, we haven't gone in the studio yet, but there's just a lot of new material that is arguably more us. I don't know.
Well, last time you were on, you're talking about some of your weirder songs, and I'm pretty sure Robot Sex got mentioned.
Yeah,
and
that happened.
That was a thing.
Other semi-inappropriate but more unnerving than anything. So this new record, what's been your inspiration? Has it got weirder? Has it got more normal? Where are you standing right now?
Well, the world has gotten weirder.
Yeah,
it's true.
I think we kind of followed suit.
Yeah. It's definitely weirder. I think it's just the longer we play together, the more we're comfortable being weird with each other. So the music's getting weirder, and I think it's simultaneously somehow getting a little bit more concise. Like I think we're getting better at putting our stuff together. So caught it. I caught it. It almost happened.
You calm yourself, Chris. All right.
I'm sorry.
I've got a bucket of water.
I get so
over
excited.
here. So special kind of hell. The opening song there. A bit of a dour title. A lot of heavy themes in there. Can you explain that a little bit further?
I think it's just no, I can't. I don't know what to say about it. Honestly.
Well, it's for you. That's actually a pretty straightforward one.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
David's songs are can be. You have to kind of look a little harder with some of his stuff, which is cool. But this one's a bit more right on the nose, right?
yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
That's as much as Dave you're going to get at David. about these.
Okay. Well,
He's very guarded about this.
Read the
Whereas all of Shetty and I's songs are based on anime from the 70s
And the Smurfs.
and the Smurfs.
I mean, technically speaking, doesn't that count as anime from the 70s?
Well, yes, because I'm talking very specifically about the Dutch Smurfs. Really inappropriate.
Those Dutch Smurfs. They're the worst.
The founders of anime, actually, the Dutch. Not many people know that.
That's right.
Got exported over to Japan.
Yep.
They took it from there. We're getting weird again.
Yeah,
I knew it was going to happen.
So let's talk a little bit about Waking Windows.
Yeah.
Chris, you are a writer for 7 Days.
am.
You write about music.
Yeah.
So professionally speaking, from your professional ear and eyes and body, who are you most looking forward to seeing next weekend? And yeah, who should we be looking out for?
Well, it's tough actually because those guys they're so good, and I mean hipster in a good way. They just know all these bands that none of us know. So when the lineup comes out, I saw these names. I'm like, this is like a made up thing. This is like a Hard Times article. I don't know any of these bands. And then you start listening to the playlists they put out, and I highly recommend going to the Waking Windows Spotify playlist because you immediately you're like, oh god. I can tell you, Sunflower Beam is great. Just fabulous band. Locally, I'm a big Barishi fan. I like Barishi. They're really heavy, and they'll be playing. There's a really cool guy named Michael. I think it's called Michael Now, N-A-U. I just heard him a couple days ago and listened to it, and it's like, oh, I love it. It's really good. So that'll be a good one. Yeah, there's just a ton of good stuff, and the local stuff's really well represented this year. I mean, it always is, but it's choice.
And how about venues wise? They seem to add more each year. Have you guys got any particular favorites? I mean, this is your 7th Waking Window, right?
Yeah, Josh and I have played 7 out of the 9 with our other band, Dino Bravo. This will be Zeus's 2nd one, and we're going back to the Last Stop, which is a cool place. It's really cool.
It's one of the newer spaces on the list. It's where CK's used to be. Before that, it was Trackside. It's a corner of Mallets Bay Ave and West Canal Street, and it's sort of like the rock and roll headquarters for Waking Windows for the weekend. So
this year they've really kind of centered the
if
rock
that's
there.
your flavor, Last Stop is the place to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And for you guys being, your seventh Waking Windows in, 2 different iterations, how have you found the festival's grown and evolved and changed over the years, and where do you see it going from here?
Man, the second part's you're gonna have to talk to Brian about that one. That's a tough one. The first part is really interesting because honestly, I'm not understating it. Waking Windows changed the music scene here. Absolutely did. Like all this good talent was already here, but it was like it wasn't stitched together. Really, like basically, if you look at the tapestry of the music scene here in the '90s, everything had a connectivity to it. That when you got into the 2000s, just sort of there was it just wasn't the connected scene that it used to be. And I mean, there's been a lot of factors. It's not that simple. But Waking Windows, what those guys have done and girls, is really connect all these things that normally wouldn't be connected. Because Burlington's music scene is so odd. Not just Burlington, but they've done it for the whole state. So that in itself has changed everything. There's a lot more connectivity than there used to be. People listen to each other more than they used to as far as musically. You play with weirder bands and it's a fine thing. and it gives you this marquee weekend once a year to like, you have these great bands from out of town that they're going to put there, and you can stand up next to them and be like, our town holds its own.
Do you think it was a case of any festival kind of could have come in and created this because it was kind of begging for it, or was it
No,
I think the hole was
Paddy,
there.
You have to do this.
I think the area was certainly begging for it, but it took the particular touch of local people who were in the scene already and sort of appreciated the special thing that we do have, especially in Chittenden County in the music scene around here. There has been attempts at other festivals in the past that have tried to actually, maybe even potentially do a better job pulling in people from all corners of the state. They didn't make it out of the second year. That's all I know.
Yeah, all those festivals, as cool as they were, and we've played like, Multiplicities, the Precipices, all those things. They were all cool and they all had their moments, but none of them had the force. I don't know if it's foresight. I don't know what it is, but whatever the Waking Windows crew has, it's given them the longevity, and they have such good ears for bands because they book all these bands that come in. So yeah, there's really nothing like it. It's really unique.
And it is, I mean, despite the fact that the amount of bands playing seems to grow each year, it's still a pretty exclusive gig to get. And people really do try hard to get themselves on that set list. So yeah, how's it feel for you guys to play it 7 times in a row, and especially Zeus Springsteen, you got invited back this year?
It feels really cool.
It's always an honor to be on that list.
Yeah, it's exciting. Last year was for Zeus, for this band, it was a big year for us, just with the record coming out. And Waking Windows last year was huge for us because, I mean, that's what's so great about this festival. They had a band in front of us from Boston called Death Pesos. Great band. I don't think they're here this year, but really good band from Boston. They played before us, and because they were before us, Vanyaland, the Deli, a bunch of different blogs were there, and ended up like being like, hey, Zeus Springsteen's really good, which was really cool because we still haven't set foot in Boston. But it was nice, like all of a sudden, it gave us a nice boost in that sense. And so when they asked us back this year, it was really cool. We asked to be back.
Have you strategically put yourself before a bigger band again?
No, we're with a bunch of local people, so no one's doing anyone any favor. What we learned is Friday night, what we learned last year is that Friday night's nuts no matter what, especially the 10 o'clock thing, because that's when the main stage is out, and you got to find somewhere to go, and there's all these people. So I learned not to worry about crowds at Waking Windows anymore. A couple of years ago, you got the 4 o'clock show at a brewery on a Sunday, you didn't know how it was going to go. I don't think that exists anymore.
No, I don't think that's really a thing anymore.
There's gonna be people. You just hope. Some places you just hope it's like where your friends can actually get in, because sometimes they can't. It's a good problem.
Frankly, every year I see the bigger and bigger posters and the bigger and bigger band lists, and I always have this moment of like, man, I don't know how they're gonna pull this off. And every year they just never cease to amaze me. Consummate professionals.
I remember seeing Paddy wandering across the Rotary last year, looking frazzled, and Deer Tick had been called off the night before.
There was a lot of frazzled people.
It was such a Burlington controversy. God, my eyes were like rolling into my brain that whole night. Like, oh god.
And it was still the best Waking Windows I've seen so far. And then this year, I'm sure it's going to be better than last year. It seems to be that they create the whole thing by the seat of their pants, and everything gets done last minute, and the whole thing comes together. I was just talking to Bob about this before the show tonight. We're not sure if every single festival is like this or this particular festival is like this, but whatever it is, they somehow make the magic happen in the end.
It's very unique. I don't think other festivals are like this.
I've played a lot of these things, and there's definitely something special about this one. So.
I look forward to this one. The other ones, like even when they're good for your band, I'm like groaning about it. Like, oh god. But this one,
it's usually totally a lot of moving things through the mud and dealing with grumpy people, and it's not the case at Waking.
Well, I think the commute's a lot easier. I'll give
that is true. I literally live on the street that we're playing on this year. But
well, guys, I'd love to hear another song. I realize we're rabbiting on, so you guys are here for music, so play, monkeys.
Yeah, this song is called Ossuary.
It was time to take a stand. The crowd parted before me, and I felt you scream. You said you saw this in a dream, a B-movie on the silver screen. And on a spiral staircase, the rabble crowned me king. Now your dream is long since past. I took a shot, but not my last. And in the ossuary, he's reigning over bones. And no one is in control. They're lonely and they want my soul. But I'm no one's savior. I was only ever loaded.
Loaded gun.
Sometimes I think that to my fate I'm a slave, and for every man who's tried to slam his black boot down so hard, there's someone waiting with a blade. There's always someone with a blade. So let it all fall down. Palace built around the notion that you're owed some happy ending. And as the sunset paints the chrome and the dying horses moan, I dreamt that you were in the tower waving me back home. Always almost
All right, Zeus Springsteen. So what's this track called again? I didn't quite get it before you started.
It's ossuary, which is a crypt made of bones. It's a thing where, you know, if you've seen them like in Paris, they've got a lot of them.
Okay.
Kind of just crypts made of bones.
And that's from the new album as well.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's a new one.
I'm seeing a theme of this album.
It's a little dark. It's a little
Are
dark.
you guys feeling okay? Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, we're not.
We said the world got weird.
No, no.
I mean, you know, we're like most of America. We're crumbling inside, but walking around like this, like everything's fine. Yeah, no, it's a dark one, man.
It's we're out of interest. Any of the tracks on the album with a little bit of hope, or is it you know, have you guys gone gothic?
Well, as long as there's life, there is hope.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Actually, the one that mentions being a blues song, No Time for the Old World Blues, that's pretty hopeful.
Is it, David?
Well, it masquerades as such, at least.
It's open-ended. It could
It's
be.
very major chord E.
Okay.
I can attest that anything I wrote for this record is depressing as hell.
Yeah.
I can promise that.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, what kind of setting would you imagine a listener to be listening to this record in?
A really bad trip.
Yeah, take the worst acid you can find
Find
and
some
then put a
brown
record
acid on
on.
eBay.
I just always go to Kramer's apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just
You know, I don't think like musically, it sounds depressing. Like it's it's lyrically sure if you get into some of the stuff, but like I think there's actually quite a lot of poppier moments for us with a lot of the new stuff. Yeah, maybe not ossuary, but I don't know what to say about that.
How do you as a band feel like you've evolved from your first album to this one? What kind of changes you made? You said you kind of got more familiar with each other, and therefore maybe a little bit weirder, and it seems a little bit darker. But
a little bit.
But what about your sound? Where's that kind of going?
Yeah, I just it feels like I think what's happening now is we're refining what we like and learning what we don't like, and we're not as extraneous. We know how to cut the stuff we need to cut a bit now, but I do feel like it's at least just the way it feels like to me is we're getting a little further away from our influences and sounding a bit more and more like this weird product of us. I hope.
I think when we first started playing together and on the first album, because I mean neither of the three of us are particularly familiar with working within a trio before. I feel like we strove to fill space a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of a thing you do when you're playing with new people and working on new material. And I think now that we're comfortable with each other, we're a lot more comfortable letting things breathe and allowing a lot more space into the songs.
Yeah. Like there was such a tendency to go for Zeppelin or like when you're in, or even the Police or something where you fill up that way, and what I think we've learned is that there's a cooler way to do it for the three of us and the way we do it, and I think the space is being filled more interesting. Yeah.
Then these guys are using more, correct me if I'm wrong, but these guys are using more I'm not saying not more effects, but they're getting away from playing straightforward stuff with effects on them and instead starting to use the effects as instruments in and of themselves. At least it feels like from the drummer's chair. What's going on?
Yeah.
So album 3, you might start bringing in the loops and the synths as well.
I mean, it's heading that way. I don't know.
It's funny. I went full down that rabbit hole and then sort of back out of it again. I'm back to pretty much just a couple of minor things.
Yeah, I can't say.
Yeah, you cannot.
I mean, it's the second record. It's like Empire Strikes Back. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be more complicated. And the next one will have a bunch of Ewoks at the end. And people are like, "Wow, Zeus sold out real quick." But
hey, but it was cute.
It was cute.
Better than Jar Jar Binks.
Right. That's the fourth record. That's the name of the fourth record.
Jar Jar Binks.
Better, yeah.
Jar Jar Binks was the mastermind behind the whole thing. Have you ever read that fan theory?
I have heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that Star Wars is spinning out right now, I kind of actually hope that that's how it shakes out.
That'd be
there is no
fantastic.
greater FU to people who are speaking about this on the internet than just letting that be true.
Jar Jar is
Disney
the
owns it now,
mastermind behind
so
everything.
it's going to turn out to be like it was all Walt Disney's weird racist plans.
I'll tell you what, we were talking about before about how you guys were baiting Springsteen into suing you. I'm pretty sure if anyone from Disney is listening to this, we're about to get hit.
We
with-
are all getting a cease and desist letter.
Yeah, cease and
Yeah.
desist.
Our next album is called Aladdin 2. It's gonna be sweet.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric
Yeah,
Boogaloo.
exactly.
And yeah, we hired Will Smith too. So check that out. Disney, checkmate.
Let's talk gigs before we do get sued, because I'm sure it's on the way.
Yeah.
You guys recently played Higher Ground, packed house. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was a good show. It was our first Higher Ground show with this band. We opened up for a Canadian band called the Bluestones. But it was crazy. It was a Monday night, and I didn't know what to expect, and the place was just jam packed. And it was really, we had it was a good show. It was a cool time. It's they had an element of fans we don't usually catch, which are like the UVM kids. We don't really get around them much,
We might have aged out of that.
We might have aged out of our. We did our UV last year. and,
UVM
man.
kids don't want to see late 30s, early 40 rocket.
No, they were all
40-year-old
asking me
rockets.
if it's cool if they skip class the next week, or we were like loading into RUV, and I was like, oh,
I am not your music teacher.
I will write you a note.
yeah, get away from me. So it was cool because there was a lot of those kids there, and they were real digging our sound.
Yeah.
They were. It was nice.
Yeah.
So and
It's also really just a nice place to play because the people work there are really awesome, and the sound is amazing. The sound engineer is amazing.
Yeah, Higher Ground is always a pleasure to play at.
Yeah.
And again, it was a great crowd for sort of being tacked on to that show at the last minute. We were very pleased to arrive and find just a bunch of gracious and wonderful people who were more than happy to listen to our rock and roll. So
Yeah, it was cool.
Awesome. And as I understand it, you guys are getting out of Vermont this summer, and you got some gig coming up out of states. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we got a couple. I mean, it's Portland House of Music, right?
yes, June 22nd.
Yeah, playing with Heart Shape Rock.
Fabulous rock and roll band from Portland, Maine.
Yeah, it's a cool venue too. It's a really cool venue. So we're kind of we've lucked out a bit. Just usually when you break in a new place, you got to go play someone's house party first, or play like a Sunday at a bookstore. So getting the Saturday night at a cool club is really good. And Portland's got a good music scene there. So
Who did you bribe to get that one?
The guitar player in Heart Shape Rock is one of my best friends from childhood, so there was some definite nepotism here.
Love it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
it's not how good you are.
that's right.
that's the truth.
Well, we've definitely gone over time at this point. But we should probably end it sometime soon. So
Yes.
if you guys got a last song you want to play to play us out?
We do. We got
Yeah.
one last one. Last shout out. Check us out at Waking Windows Friday, 10 o'clock. Last stop.
Oh, and any social medias you want to plug? Do you guys have social media? Do
We
you guys
do.
know what
Oh, yeah.
social media is?
We're not quite that.
Josh does. He tells us sometimes.
Yeah, I as the youngest guy in the band at 37, I'm very adept at the Facebook.
He helps
Yeah, we have a
program
Facebook
reviews,
account. We have an Instagram account, Zeus Springsteen. I mean, it's a unique enough name that if you Google it, you're probably going to find it.
All our music's on Spotify and iTunes.
Yeah,
and
we're on all
that.
the popular streaming services. You can download our first album for whatever price you desire, even if that's $0 from our Bandcamp link, which is easily accessible from our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Sweet. And what's this last song you got to play us out?
This is a real cheery one. This is called My Time Amongst the Witches.
Down past the black caves and the sulfur smell. That's where the witches craft and cast their spells. Forever nights, those blown out days, a cocaine breakfast with the lover who never stays. Don't stand too close to the shadow. I hear those fools worship the moon. They caught me stumbled, loved my potential. They fed me manna from their bodies and souls. I knew the deal didn't fail when it got real. A cocaine breakfast with the lover who never heals. Don't stand too close to the shadow. made of magic. Now they ain't no snitches. Forever lights through a heathen haze. A cocaine breakfast with a lover who counts my days. Don't stand too close to the shadow. I hear those fools worship the moon.
Zeus Springsteen, absolute cracking track.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on once again.
Hey, thanks for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us
again.
again.
It's great. Always great in here.
You know, when you get that album out, then come on a third time. You can be our semi-favorite recurring guest.
We love it. We'll
cool.
pick the happiest one we got.
Please do.
Yeah.
We're all in a fragile place.
Yeah.
Next week, we have got Slightly Used, a Moxie Shotgun. This has been 105.9 The Radiator, The Rocket Shop. I have been your host, Tom Proctor. Big thanks to both of the bands on this evening. We will catch you next week. Until then, ciao.